And like the balance in the gray area sometimes is the difficult part, because it feels easier to just be like, okay, I'm swearing off weed, I'm swearing off readings, I'm swearing off whatever it is forever. I think it's a helpful tactic in the sense that it will keep you on a, I guess, like straighter path, but you're also, number one, blocking yourself from the genuinely productive and helpful uses of said drug, because I guess I will call tarot content, it is another drug, not necessarily tarot content, but content in general, and social media and media. I just think blanket statements are dangerous. And then secondly, it still has control over you, because you still have to actively, there's still an active hold on you, rather than kind of sinking into the discomfort of trying to really kind of dig in to how to find balance with those addictions. Say swearing off them is just like a resisting the resisting them to a degree that resisting them to a degree that will satisfy. It's hard to verbalize. Yeah, we resist them to a degree that it allows you to kind of stabilize and not feel the negative effects of whatever the addiction is. And I guess that's beneficial when it's your addiction to whatever substance or tool or whatever is significantly negatively impacting your life. Of course, then sometimes really the only kind of balance then is to just swing the pendulum completely the other way. But I suppose I feel like I do have maybe a relationship with a lot of stuff, even like ChatGPT and stuff. Like, I have a relationship with a lot of stuff where I form a dependency on it that borders on addiction, but it never really fully materializes into like crippling addiction where I feel like my life is significantly negatively impacted. I think I get to a point where I can notice negative impacts, and then I start to adjust my behavior at that point. So I guess this is very, very specific to my experiences with those things, and the belief that I will be able to find a balance, and I want to be able to find a balance, but existing in that gray area is just messier and calls for more conscious awareness of your mental processes and your attachments to these things. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I really resolved anything in this chat. Um, I think I just kind of talked, but isn't that the point? I suppose existing in the grey area means that there are going to be times when the balance is tipped further than you might want it to be at certain times. And you have to be okay with that and be conscious of when the scales are being tipped a little bit. And like, I think maybe there's a desire to have achieve perfect balance, and like perfect balance doesn't, it does exist of course, but perfect balance is hard especially when there's so many variables in life, like So coming to a place of true, like, just, not needing to reassess. If you want to exist in this gray area, it means that you have to kind of accept that sometimes things are going to be a little bit off, and that just is your call to shift your perspective or shift your priorities in order to rebalance. And I suppose that's why it feels uncomfortable, because it means that there's no like security in knowing that you're doing the right thing all the time, It takes more trust in your own discerning faculties, your own capabilities of discernment, rather than just relying on a blueprint, which is, say, for example, if I'm addicted to weed and it sometimes negatively affects me, but it's sometimes positive, but I want to get rid of all the negative effects, well, then I'll just get rid of weed out of my life completely. And that's just like clear cut, easy, simple. Now I know I don't have that problem. You know what I mean? Whereas trying to hold the truth of the reality of the situation, which is that weed is a tool. I believe weed is a tool that has benefits, but it also, when used with, I guess, out of integrity, it has negative effects. But like, I think for me, it feels important to be able to truly, I suppose it's more just it is just about like being okay with it not being perfect. um Being okay with not being the perfect version of myself at any moment, and like probably never really being a perfect version of myself. And that kind of feels hard to admit, because if I think everyone wants to know that perfection is attainable, to and everyone wants to follow the blueprint and figure out what's the blueprint for me to be able to live a perfect life. And it's just objectively, it's not possible. So the more I reflect, and the more I've been, I guess, diving deeper into reflection, the more I've been diving deeper into an understanding of myself and how I want to live, the more I realize that I just kind of have to get comfortable with the discomfort, comfortable with uncertainty, comfortable with the gray area, comfortable with doubt, because it's all part of the process. And what I find trips me up a lot is beating myself up over like the doubt, uncertainty, and feeling like that means that there's something wrong, and then being like, oh my god, I'm useless, oh, I've lost it, or I'm never going to be, XYZ, and blah blah blah. It's just kind of like, you have to be okay with it, and you can still feel like joy and like excitement and passion and alignment within those moments of doubt and uncertainty, if you kind of can truly accept them as part of your path, and truly know and trust that it's not wrong to feel doubtful or uncertain. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where the party is.